Hi, this is Teresa Momber, and here's a look at the card I'll show you how to create in today's video. To begin, trim white cardstock to 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and then stamp the lighthouse image from the By the Sea stamp set from Gina K Designs using Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I really just want the lighthouse portion of this image, so I'm using a sticky note to mask off the base. After stamping, remove the mask. To color the image, I'm starting with Copic marker R89 and I'm using that on the darker bands. Next, fill in those bands using Copic marker R27. For the upper portions of the lighthouse and for the lighter bands, start with Copic marker N7. Switch to Copic marker N5 and continue coloring. Then fill in the open areas using N3. And also go over the red sections to kind of dim those down so they're not quite as bright. Use Copic marker Y17 for the light. Stamp the image a second time onto a scratch paper or a sticky note, and then cut the image out and use it as a mask. With the mask in place, begin sponging using Gina K Designs Peach Bellini ink. Switch to Gina K Sweet Corn ink and continue sponging. Now switch to Gina K Sweet Mango ink and continue sponging. Now use Gina K Cherry Red ink and continue sponging. And you'll just want to work this color down right about to the base of the lighthouse, maybe a tiny bit below it, but we don't want to go down too far. And as you build up the color, slowly build it up, working it into the yellow and orange above so that you have a gradual transition. Place a sticky note just below the lighthouse for the water, and then tear a second sticky note and place it above so that we can sponge in a band of land. Use Gina K black Onyx ink to sponge into the open areas. And I have a little oops here. I forgot to take the mask off the lighthouse. So I'm carefully peeling away the top sticky note and then removing the mask for the lighthouse. Hopefully you'll catch that in time and get your lighthouse mask off before you start sponging. Now reposition the bottom mask to a little lower on the cardstock. And then reposition the upper mask at a bit of an angle and a little lower. And if you want, you can go ahead and tear a fresh edge on this mask. That's not necessary, but you can. I'm doing it here. And you want to position this at an angle so we're creating a second land mass in front of the first one. Now sponge into the open area using Gina K Black Onyx ink. Then remove both masks. And this is another optional step. If you'd like, you can use your sponge dauber without re-inking it, just using a little bit of residual ink, and sponge over that back land mass to soften the edges of it just a tad. Next, use Gina K in the navy ink and tap off as much as you can onto scratch paper so that you're just using a tiny bit of ink, and then sponge into the water. Now I'm going to create some dimension and shadows using Copic markers in the water. I'm starting with Copic marker C3 and just adding some horizontal lines here and there. Then switch to Copic marker N5 to deepen some of that shading. And you can make the shading a little heavier beneath the lighthouse so that you have a little hint of a cast shadow. Now I'm switching back to Copic marker C3 and going over the previous color to help blend it into the background. And once more I'm going to deepen the coloring on some of those shadows. This time I'm using Copic marker C5. If you'd like some wispy clouds in the background, try using Copic marker N3 and just make some horizontal lines here and there, make them a little wider and a little narrower in different places. And switch to Copic marker N1 to blend out from that previous color. And for a few even fainter clouds, try using Copic marker YR61. Stamp the sentiment also from the By the Sea stamp set using Gina K Black Onyx ink. Adhere your image layer to a piece of black onyx cardstock that's trimmed slightly larger, and then adhere both layers to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch Moonlit fog card base. And that completes today's video. Thanks for watching.